Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside. Hey scrappers, Tom here from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. Can't believe we're almost 4 months into the year, gone and done. So, markets are different, and we're certainly going to talk about all things that we've seen the last couple of weeks since we spoke. But don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to our page, please subscribe to our page so you can get updates and new videos when they come out there. If you're interested in getting videos before everyone else gets them, please become one of our YouTube members and you'll get early access to all the videos that we're creating. And we'll go from there. So we had a couple of questions that we want to talk about on the stainless market. So let's just jump right into the questions. Lamal said, will stainless go up? Well, everything should go up over time. Now, what time period we're going to look at is going to be a little different. I don't have any strong feeling on stainless increasing anytime soon. That being said, stainless is still one of the only metals that I would recommend holding. And why is that? Stainless prices are going to go up. Things go up just like stock markets. If you look over, 10, 20, 30, 40-year projections, they are, trajectories, they go up. Stainless is in a bit of a doldrum right now. National pricing for 304 stainless is in the 28 to 35 cent range, sometimes less. I recommend holding it because unlike aluminum, it's very dense and heavy, so you can hold more stainless, and it might be a good upgradable item as markets jump. I remember back in 2021, stainless prices were around $1 a pound. 2022, they shot to like 50 cents, but then they had a run up where they went back to 90 cents. But the nickel markets hit 52-week lows a couple of weeks ago, near 13,000 a ton. They've since recovered to 15,000, but there's not a strong demand or industry demand for stainless, so I'd continue to hold it. So hopefully that helps you out. What else is going on with the markets? I'm going to bring up the copper chart in a couple of seconds, but let's talk about copper for a minute because it has been one of the most confusing and hard things to really gauge right now. It really has been unbelievably difficult because you have markets that have changed so drastically. Now, in the last month, we've seen copper prices go from from $5.10 to $4.10, and today we're at $4.90. And you can see illustrated the 1 year chart here, and you can see these drastic mountains with dips and valleys. That's not what we want to see. What we want to see is somewhere from August to November of last year, we saw that nice kind of steady up, but not a huge decline. Then we saw this humongous increase the first 3 months of this year, followed by a humongous decrease, and then another humongous increase. We don't like those things happening. That's the opposite of what we want. And I've talked about this extensively in the last few weeks. Scrapyards, our spreads used to be very solid, 20 cents a pound for under Bear Bright, 30 cents for number one tubing. I'm making numbers up, 40 cents under Comex for number two. Those spreads are now 60 cents, 75 cents, $1 a pound. So while you see numbers that are trading online, don't look at those numbers as a pure trading. We got a question here. We got a comment. Steven, copper Comex dropped to 420 last week, back to 484 today. Future. Any comments on the LME difference from Comex? So Steven, great question. You obviously pay close attention to this as well. The LME seems to be a better market indicator right now because LME prices are closer to 440 a pound, not 484. So right off the bat, you have a 40 to 50 cent difference. That creates problems. So I'm following Comex and LME, but I'm very cautious in how I'm buying, as everyone is, because we're having market swings that are really, just look at the illustration, Virginia. If you could change that to 30 days, it'll really illustrate how crazy this market has been, when you look at this market, these jumps, these humongous dips, and then these up and down craters, yesterday we saw markets, kind of up a little bit. Monday, they were up a lot. This morning, they were in the 490s, dipped down to 484. So we're seeing huge swings, which makes it very, very difficult to sell material. So hopefully that helps. Philip, why is copper prices here in Alabama $3.10 per pound when it's higher, when it's a higher national price? Well, that means that your markets are less aggressive than other markets. They might have to travel further. So when you look at national prices, again, these are the averages. So unfortunately, you're on the lower side of the average, but that's why iScrap is here, for you to be able to learn more, contact other yards, find other yards in your area to be able to sell your material too. Believe it or not, I just did a job. Right now, the load is getting picked up in Atlanta, Georgia. I have over 4,000 pounds of copper bus bar that I purchased. It was cheaper for me. This is crazy. It was cheaper for me to ship that material from Atlanta to New Jersey and sell it locally. I make the same amount of money. My customer makes 12 cents a pound more, and that's after eating the trucking. Different areas have humongous price differences. Newark has export as well as the ability to sell to different copper mills, where somewhere like Alabama might be really tough. I'm paying $3 and what do we update to? $3.75 for Bear Bright, I think. I think we're at $3.75 a pound, or $3.70 for Bear Bright. And you can see Harold Smith here. I just got $3.07 for Bear Bright #1. I'm paying $3.70 in Rockaway, New Jersey. I'd love to see you up here, Harold. Take a drive anytime you want. Everyone is welcome. And as long as I'm at the yard, I will come out. I will give you a tour. I will give you some Rockaway recycling swag. If you want to drive here for better prices on copper, you are always welcome to. But when I look at these copper prices and I think about where they're going, we have so many things that are going to drop. We do this week to week. I'm trying to look at things right now in a 6-month window. What's going to happen the next 6 months? Well, the next 6 months, we're going to start to see dozens of tariff and trade agreements being settled and put into position with all types of countries. Yesterday, and then again today, we heard the Trump administration talking about lowering tariffs on the Chinese. Kind of that shell shock to the market as they reciprocated is hurting a lot of different companies and people. So we're going to start to see those things working themselves out. But what we want to see is flat. We want to see level for a while. We're just seeing this. The stock market jumped 1,000 points yesterday, 1,000 points today, but it was down 1,000 on Monday. This is the uneasiness that's going to happen in the short term. But 6 months from now, where are we going to be? Hopefully we have tariffs behind us in the way that we're talking about them today. Hopefully, David said in Texas, copper dropped from $3.80 to $2.80. $1 a pound drop. That's exactly what happened. And that's why we always put on our reports what we recommend selling and recommend holding. So David, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletters so you can get those full reports and see items that we recommend holding and selling. Thanks for sharing. Copper prices in the next 6 months should stabilize. We're going to see agreements happening. We're going to see tariffs being removed from other countries. We're going to see new trade agreements taking place. Vice President Vance yesterday was in India. I watched one of the announcements that he made talking about how close that we are if they don't already have an agreement with India that's going to be published in the next few days. That's a major, strong piece of market news because India is going to become one of the largest trading partners that the United States has as we filter business away from China. Unfortunately, you're going to see temporary pain in the markets. Long term, though, this will help everyone to reestablish world trade, to renegotiate tariffs and different prices on things. And 6 months from now, I really expect us to start to see things changing. And don't forget, we're going to possibly have the one big beautiful bill that could extend the tax cuts. There's a possibility of interest rates going down. So, Lamal said the tax rebate and other tax legislation is going to push the market back up in a few months. I agree with you. I do think that it's going to do exactly that. But in the short term, while prices are high on paper, those spreads became so large that it makes it much more difficult to gauge where the markets are going to be. Philip asks, so should I hold on to my copper, brass, and all my clean aluminum for a while until it stabilizes? I am not one to tell you what to do. My advice is if you don't need the money, don't sell the metal. But if you need the money, sell the metal, especially if you're using it to buy tools or something that you need. So I try not to give advice on that. But if you don't need it, hold on to it. You might be able to make some more money 6-12 months from now, but it will be all of 6 to 12 months from now. Big Scrap Nation says, my yard is paying $5.50 a pound on copper right now, but that's Canadian. I don't know how to do the quick translation, or not the translation, the currency thing. Virginia's going to run that real quick. Let's see, what do we have? 5.5, $3.96 on a U.S. price. That is a great price, Big Scrap Nation. So you must be selling in larger quantities, just going off of your name, but I love seeing it. I'd love to see you reporting those prices on the iScrap app to help yourself and other scrappers know where the national and markets are in the United States and Canada. So that's a lot of copper, and you're welcome to keep asking questions. We're live right now, April 23rd, 1 p.m. Eastern. So ask questions. Jay asked, where are we headed on steel? That was my next area going after. My job has been sending lots of shredding prepared cast by rail car, EMR in Camden. So Jay, we see the steel markets continuing to weaken. I believe that this was the 6th week in a row we've seen declines on the steel markets after the first 2 months of the year. Boy, we really got slapped right in the face with these steel prices. It's really difficult right now to get strong prices on steel. I'm doing some very large jobs, moving millions of pounds of steel, and I'm looking at these numbers, and I feel like they're numbers I should be paying out to customers, not what should be paid to me. I've seen light iron prices drop by $50 to $70 on some of the reported numbers. It won't shock me very, very soon to see our national average light iron or shred price at or near 100 a ton. So I'm looking at these things, so I'm saying, okay, where's the positive? If you know me by now, tin, he gets $275 per ton. Big Scrap Nation, you're probably selling right to a mill. You're obviously bigger than some of the peddlers. Thank you so much for sharing those numbers. Really appreciate it. When I look at these steel markets, I don't see a lot of upside. I see people trying to unload things, but I also see very strategic companies holding on to large quantities of steel if they can afford to. So if you start to see your own scrapyard building big piles that go higher than the buildings, ding, 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 that's a tip. And that might be a video that we have coming out to show you they think the markets are going up. Maybe you should hold on as well. You got to watch and learn with your eyes as much as you do reading and listening. So when you show up to the scrapyard, are they empty? Jay said we dropped 40 a ton last month on the commercial side. So Jay's working at EMR in Camden, New Jersey, which is one of the larger international scrap companies, big one here in Jersey. 40 a month on the commercial side. That was March. This month we've already seen, last week. He said 40 last week. We've already seen that kind of going forward. I talked to a guy 2 hours ago that I sell steel to regularly, and I go, hey, your prices are $20 a ton less than some other guys. You're always higher. And he told me flat out, he goes, Tom, in these markets, I would rather not make money than lose money, because not making money is keeping money in my pockets, but I'm going to be conservative until we see things settle out. And if many of you remember 2 to 3 weeks ago when the huge price drops were happening, 3 weeks ago tomorrow is when it started to happen. That roller coaster was rocking, right? That's when spreads started to really change. So we're going to watch these markets. But here's the positive. I heard that 2 states in the United States have their average gas price below $2 a gallon. I see the price on gas going down going into Memorial Day next month. These are really good things because we're starting to see prices going down to, I think, 4 or 5 year lows, probably from kind of a COVID era. If that happens, think about it. You could have the cheapest gas in 5 years, and that's after trillions of dollars were injected into the economy. So I think that gas prices should be like $2.50. To see them going below $2 in many places is unbelievable. That shows that America is really producing a lot of gas, a lot of oil, a lot of natural gas that will help some transportation costs, but we don't see huge economic gains on the commercial side. We need these tariffs to be able to be resolved. We need trade agreements with great partners to be done. When you start to see news dropping, agreement with China, agreement with Japan, agreement with Australia, agreement with India, you start to see these things happening rapid fire, which we will. Because like President Trump said, we're not an off-the-rack trade agreement. Each country is going to have a custom-made suit, and whether you agree or disagree with the president, that's what's happening. I'm not reporting politics, I'm reporting news. So you're going to start to see these happening. That's going to spur more economic growth in addition to the trillions of dollars that companies are pouring into the United States to produce factories, but those unfortunately take time. Now let's switch over to a catalytic converter side of things, always sponsored by rrcats.com. If you're looking to sell your catalytic converters, we hold our prices for 10 days and provide you free shipping on all your OEM cats. Now, we've started to see a little bit of a little juice going into the cat market, but we thought that we would start to see some of these precious metals following the epic rise of gold that hit all-time highs earlier this week, if not the end of last week. That hasn't happened, and I'm really surprised that platinum hasn't shot up 20-30% in the last 4 months. I really am. But right, do we have, is that shared right now? Sorry. But the national car scope is very different because the EV stuff is being pulled away, and now we may start to see a little more growth. But we've seen these flat-lined average catalytic converter prices. I mean, look at this chart, everyone. August, December, January. All you see is 70 to 73 bucks. So you know, and this goes back to July of 2024. That's been our average for what, 9-10 months. It is what it is, but we're still providing those quotes, holding those prices, and giving you free shipping. So let the team at our cats know. On a rare earth side of things, carbide, tungsten, we have a few videos that are out. So don't forget to check our YouTube page to learn more about tungsten and carbide and different items inside that. We've seen small increases. Demand is there. Manufacturing is still strong as more manufacturing comes into the country. But what we are seeing is that low price on nickel is going down. Travis says, if I'm bringing 1,000 pounds or more, shouldn't I get a little bit better price? What type of material are you talking, Travis? If you could just answer me, I'll be able to get back to you. When you look at carbide and tungsten, a lot of those are going to follow the nickel markets, even though they're different metals or alloys. Nickel has such a strong impact on Inconels, Monels, and specialty alloys. That's one of the things that spurs things a little more than they would from a pure tungsten perspective. So we are seeing markets out there, and rrcarbide.com is continuing to provide free shipping and free containers for you to load your carbide or rare earth alloys into. And you're always welcome to come to Rockaway Recycling in person. So we'll see what happens there. In other news, a couple of articles that we have here. I'm just going to talk about one from Recycling Today. The Chinese retaliatory 125% tariff on U.S. imports triggered by the U.S. upping the Chinese tariff to 145% is hitting recycled copper hard. That's one of the reasons we see these humongous spreads, because if you're shipping your copper into China now and you need to spend 125% tariff, that's going to really hurt the markets, right? Where's this copper going to go? It's going to be really hard to find new homes for millions of pounds of recycled materials. So when we look at this, it's going to be really tough to figure out where these markets are going to go, but we're in a wait and see mode over the next few weeks and months. Other than that, I was really impressed with gold hitting all-time record highs, hit over $3,400 per ounce. Many of you may or may not trade gold. It may be more of an electronic type of a thing. While we have started to see some of the electronic scrap prices increase, it hasn't been so crazy because, again, some of these gold prices are more of a trigger from the economic woes of the stock market. So yesterday, for instance, we saw gold prices drop 100 per ounce. Today, gold prices dropped 40 per ounce. We saw 2 days of positive economic tariff type of news and trade type of news. So investors went from being more safe into gold, maybe back into some other commodities or other stocks. So we're watching this really closely as well. So other than that, scrappers, we have another question. Sure, Bradley, what about silver? Silver prices have followed gold, but as silver is not something that's really commonly found or scrapped often, it's going to be hard for me to give you a real impact on it. The only silver trading I do is on silver plated brass or copper items. But we've seen silver prices increasing. We'll pull a chart up just so you can see. What is this 30-day chart be? Do a 3-month chart. So you can see big declines, kind of went back to where it was. That was when everything dropped down. I don't trade silver. Again, I only trade silver plated brass items. And in the last year, I've only seen those prices go up slightly. Not a lot of people that specialize in it. And there's not a lot of silver in common areas of scrapping. So I generally don't talk about it so strong. So, Lamal says, so Tom, has aluminum, brass, and copper as a sell rating? Yes, I still have aluminum, brass, and copper, my ABCs. I still have aluminum, brass, copper, cats, and steel, ABCCS, all as sell items. Again, the only thing I'm recommending holding right now may be stainless, but if you came to my yard, we are spinning material out as quickly as possible. Scrappers, my name's Tom, and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, we go live. So if you have questions, don't forget to follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, ask us the questions. If we're live, we'll get back to you. Hopefully next week, we have some more positive feedback and market news off of maybe a couple of deals being made. That would be really great. So appreciate you tuning in. Again, today, April 23rd, Tom from Rockway Recycling and the iScrap app. Until next week, I'll scrap you later.